Casey Joe Collins. For some reason, I was going to call you something else.
I get
Now I
Casey,
don't.
Casey at the bat a lot, or Casey Jones. That one comes up a lot.
That's what I was going to call it, Casey Joe Jones.
There we go.
That isn't it.
That's not it.
Yeah, good stuff there.
Thank you very much.
So that's 602?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And is it a new song or?
It's been around for a few years. I think it might be a rock and roll song instead of a folk song. So I think I need to do a record that's a little more rock and roll, and I think that's what that one will go on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
I understand.
As I'm winging it every day.
So when you write a song, do you know what it's going to be? Do you try to write a folk song or a rock song? Or?
I just kind of start writing, and usually it's there's one line of a song that'll jump in my head, or a word that I want to use in a song, and then I throw together some chords and just keep playing it over and over. And sometimes I think the song's going to be about something, and then it's about something completely different by the end. I've got a few songs I'm still not sure what I wrote them about,
right?
But I've had people say that it meant something to them, so I better keep singing that song, and maybe I should figure out what I was talking about too.
That is part of the wonderful, the wonderfulness of art.
Mm-hmm.
It can mean so many different things to different people,
mm-hmm.
and you kind of pick and choose. Oh, that means this to me.
Right.
It doesn't mean it to the singer
right.
or the songwriter or anybody else, but to me.
Right.
And that's so good. I mean, I love that when that happens.
It's the magic to it.
Yeah, exactly. It. By the way, anybody who's listening, if you like what you're hearing, and even if you don't, you can go down to the View and check out him, Casey Joe Collins, live at the View right after this show is done, and we're gonna head down there. You can follow me down there because you haven't been there yet.
Yeah,
it's not far away.
Okay.
Not far at all.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
Now, are you in the process of writing for a new album, or do you just write all the time?
Usually I write all the time. It's been a couple of years since I've written anything new, actually.
Really?
Since everything, shut down with pandemic stuff, I've just kind of been trying to keep my head above water at this point. And so having the space to feel creative hasn't quite been there, but I think we're getting close to it. And I've got 15 or so songs that aren't recorded yet anyway. So
good.
The last record I put out, all of them had been written 5 to 7 years before I put it out this last
really?
year, and none of them were new.
that you say that, and I've had other people say stuff like that, and it amazes me because they all seem to be in a timely manner
mm-hmm.
to what's going on at the time.
It's right.
Like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know how it happened.
It's interesting how things come together sometimes.
Yeah, it's really cool
mm-hmm.
the way it happens like that. Now, let me see. I'm trying to remember. Oh, geez, my mind. The name of the album. It was
the last one's "Life and Times of Casey Joe." Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Casey Joe.
Gotcha. Excuse me. Darn. Sorry about that, people. Anyway, there's a song of yours that I like it. It's called "Beg, Borrow, Steal."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You say in that song that you read a lot of books about Jesse James, and you bring up a little bit about history. So history, I take it, is a big thing in your life.
Yeah.
Big interest.
Yes. So when I first moved to Iowa, I had been doing the punk rock stuff, and I met a gal, and that's why I moved to Iowa. And at that point, I decided I'm 22. I should get a big kid job and stop this rock and roll foolishness. And so I went and did the thing that I loved the most at that time, or that I thought made the most sense, and I went to Iowa State to get a history degree.
Really?
And when I went full time with this project, when I was still Mississippi Jake, I had an offer to go get a PhD in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And as I was going to submit the paperwork, I realized I don't want to do that. And so I quit my job, I quit grad school, and became a full-time musician.
Wow.
But since I can remember, I've been obsessed with American history. Growing up in the Ozarks, I grew up on what's called the Old Wire Road, and it's right between two different battlefields, one in northwest Arkansas and one near Springfield, Missouri. And so both armies during the Civil War were constantly moving through my hometown. And when I was doing research, I found a journal of an Iowa soldier. He joined up in Keokuk, and he wound up in my hometown of Cassville during the war for about 3 months. And the town had become basically a field hospital after one of the battles. And so he was there taking care of the wounded folks that were too serious to move to Springfield.
So he was a doctor?
No, just a cavalry guy. But he was there to make sure that no enemy, came into town while everyone was laid up. But he wrote a very beautiful, about 4 months worth of diary entries about my hometown. And so reading through that, he's talking about the creek and going and catching fish out of it. That's the creek that I caught fish out of.
Wow, that's cool.
It's really, really cool. History's just kind of always followed me around, and just always been a little obsessed with it. So I have about 600 history books in my house.
Wow.
That's my souvenir when I go travel, is I go find used bookstores and
nice.
spend $5, then I write down the town that I bought them in and take them home with me.
Yeah, that's that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
So as a history buff,
Mm-hmm.
do you incorporate history into your music, or
when I started doing folk music, I think that was my intention, and I made up Mississippi Jake. I think was kind of a character, and then I was going to make up characters in my stories, and then I just started writing about things I'd experienced. And so I think this is my opportunity to explore my history as opposed to the American history. And it gets sprinkled in there. But a song is just not always the easiest to explain all of the nuances and complications of any historical figure. At least for me.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've been fascinated. Do you know who John Jakes is?
That sounds really familiar.
He's an author, and he wrote the Kent Family Chronicles, which started out with The Bastard, and I don't remember what the last one was, but it was like an 11-book series.
Sure.
And it was a novels, but they were based in history and based with true historical facts and stuff.
Sure.
And it was really cool.
Really fun.
Great series that I read when I was a kid.
Sure.
Or not even a kid, but yeah. Just I love books like that.
Right.
That sprinkle in things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But are you one of these people that, as you're driving, you see historical marking and you pull over to read it?
When I can. Yep. When I can. When I have days off on the road, that's most of what I do. Is I'll be at a battlefield somewhere, or I'll be at some wagon trail through somewhere. There's always something. I finally got to stop at the Spam Museum on the way up to Minneapolis a couple weeks ago, which was nice. And now I have some sweet sunglasses that have Spam on the side of them. Cool. So I'm doing pretty all right.
That drives my wife nuts when I'm driving. I'll pull over and she goes, do you have to read everything? I go, well, some of it's really interesting.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. There's so much that you can miss.
And I say, why do you think they put a historical marker there? Because there's something happening.
Yes.
You never know what it was.
Yes.
So you read it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm kind of like that. Probably not to the extent as you are.
I get to fly solo a lot. Yeah. I got a little bit of a problem, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about driving around by yourself is you get to stop wherever you go.
Yeah.
No one's going to complain.
I got to take trips without my wife. I hope she's not listening. I'll hear about it if she is.
For sure. You'll know.
You collect books. I was like that with music, with records.
Sure.
When I was in school, actually before, well, yeah, I was in school, but that it wasn't a school thing. But down like up the street, like 4 or 5 houses away from where I was growing up, there was a kid that was from New York, and he would come every summer and stay the summer at his grandma's house, which was just up the street from my house. And we would talk about music and stuff. And I'd turn him on to bands from around this area, like, I mean, well, this area, I should say mainly like Chicago and Detroit.
Sure.
And he would turn me on to bands from New York area.
Right.
And that's the first time I ever heard the New York Dolls. I'm like, oh, I love these guys.
That's awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
That's awesome.
And I turned him on to Iggy and the Stooges.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
For sure.
And we would go back and forth. Anyway, he gave me an address to a guy that had like 7 stores in New Jersey and New York.
Okay.
Everybody called him Sal. I don't really remember what his name was, but it wasn't Sal.
Okay.
I think Sal was part of his last name.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. He did record shows.
Okay.
And he knew he was coming to a show in Chicago, and he wrote to me and he says, "How far are you from Chicago?" I said, "Hour and a half," or He goes, "Okay, well, I'm doing a record show, but I don't have anybody that can go to that show and help me." He goes, "If you would come into Chicago and help me during the record show, I would give you, I'd like to pick out 2 or 3 albums, depending on what they were."
Sure.
And could you do? Yeah, sure. So I went in, and this guy taught me everything, about record show business, record conventions,
Sure.
they were called at the time, and I started doing that. That was when I was a senior in high school. I did my first record show, which was in Chicago, and I bought a table right next to Sal's table, and he explained to me, "Oh, do this, yeah." He was so helpful in that,
Sure.
and I did record shows up until like 2001 or two.
Okay.
So a long time.
Sure.
It was so much fun.
That's cool.
And when I met my wife, I kind of changed.
Yeah, that'll do
it. The first time she came over to my house, I bought my house from my parents on contract.
Okay.
It was a 2-story house, and I divided it up into 3 apartments.
Okay.
Anyway, I was still living in the big apartment at the time, and she came in and she goes, "What is all this stuff?" And I said, "Well, they're records." And I said, "I know they're records, but how come you have so many?" I said, "Well, I do record shows and stuff. I make money for it." "Oh, okay." Well, I started my collection dwindled down, and now I have maybe a handful
Sure.
of albums.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry about that. I got on a tangent.
That's all right.
But yeah, so you might have a problem, and I had a problem. I don't anymore.
You got better.
Yeah, forcibly.
With help.
Yeah. Anyway, back to your music. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Let me see here. I jotted down some stuff here. Beg, borrow, steal. I like that. The history thing. There's another. Promise to be brave. That's the name of the album.
Yes.
Okay.
That album. Yep.
One of my favorite songs on that is "Burnt Out Cigarettes."
Thank you.
I like that. I like the fiddle in that too. Are you a fiddle player?
No, I'm barely a guitar player. We got some folks in Des Moines that I've been able to pull on board in the Des Moines area. The banjo and mandolin is played by one person on those records. His name is Buzz Owen. He's out of Marshalltown, and then Catherine Fox is the fiddle player.
I was wondering.
Yep, that's Catherine. Yep.
She's fantastic.
She is. Yeah.
I'd like to, if next time you see her, say, "Hey,
Oh, for sure.
show.
Yeah, yeah.
And tell her to bring Chad if she
Sure.
wants.
I think they're actually at Byron's tonight. We were
Oh,
talking
really?
about
Oh,
Byron's.
cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they're playing a show there tonight.
What are the Weary Travelers? I
Yeah,
think is what
Weary
they're called.
Ramblers, I think is.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. I'd
Yeah,
love
they're a
to
lot
have
of
her
fun.
come.
Oh, yeah.
Chad came here a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been probably 3 or 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd like to have him back.
Yeah.
And Catherine. Yeah, fantastic. See, networking. It's all networking.
It is all
people.
networking.
Yeah. Fantastic. That song and another one I liked was Table Will Build.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank you
man.
very much. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. I really like. Can you talk a little bit about that song?
Yeah, that's the last song I finished ever. I haven't written one since then.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been a bit of a slump, but that's all right. That's all right. We're getting.
But you got a lot of songs
Yeah,
in the can, so to
yes,
speak.
yes, and I'm still gaining the experiences to write about later. But yeah, that one came about. I finished that one in 2020. There was so much turmoil going on between everybody, and I don't know. I just felt like something hopeful, and that's
Right.
I don't want any even songs that I have that are sad. I don't want to leave anybody without hope because there's enough of that going around the world.
Oh, for sure.
I always want, I'll be honest, when things are rough, but also we're in it together, and that's kind of what I think that song to me boils down to is that we gotta build the table together, and
Got it.
and
Nice.
for as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah. That's a good song, and it is hopeful. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to do another song? for us?
I'll do Burn Out Cigarettes if you want to hear it.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I forgot. I'm sorry. We got to take a little break here. You know how it is,
For
people.
sure.
I gotta do these commercials because they need to be done because we need to pay for programming like you're listening to right now. I'm Billy Rose. You're listening to Midwest Revue live on Mac FM, coming to you from the Wild Rose Casino and Hotel studio. And it's brought to you by the block that rocks Savannah, Illinois. Casey Joe Collins is live here in the studio with me. We'll be back with a song from Casey Joe right after these messages.
Hi, it's Sarah at Classic Body Works.
Go-to full-service auto body shop. We've been
I
family-owned
do
and
that all the
operated
time.
for
I
40
forget
years.
about
Our
commercials.
state-of-the-art facility
Good
and
conversation
certified
will do that.
technicians cater for all makes and
We've
models.
only got 2
From
commercials
potholes to
Okay.
or
parking
2
lot
breaks
mishaps,
in this.
we don't only
I
restore your
usually
vehicle,
wait till
but we
the
also
end and
restore
play
your
the
peace of
last
mind.
Okay.
Stop in today for a free collision estimate or call to schedule a wheel alignment or oil change. 563-243-2688. Again, 563-243-2688.
Weather brought to you by
So are you planning on doing a new album or
Yeah.
you're gonna release
Yeah,
it?
I haven't really started any of the process of what'll even be on it. I might do an EP and do like 3 or 4 songs.
So many people are putting out singles. And I figure, why not?
There's no need to invest
Cloudy skies
an
expected
entire
tonight with a
record
low of 25.
for something that people are going to listen to 2 songs of,
Exactly.
maybe.
High temperatures reach up to
And
45.
people aren't buying CDs anymore anyway.
And it's expensive.
It is.
Highs level up from 36. Tuesday, under overcast skies. 39. Wednesday, chance for scattered rain showers. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now,
36. I'm Billy Rose. You're listening to Midwest Revue live. Casey Joe Collins live here in the studio, and he's going to play a song for us. What do you got there, Casey?
Burn Out Cigarettes. Please tell me the 30s now where dreams go die. Still got a few more songs to sing. I just rattle along like an old freight train in the prodigal son far from home. We're just trying to be singing sad songs. No regret. Tonight we'll drink the stars. When all the dogs can shut their mouths and the road never seems to end, I just sing along to an old punk rock song with friends whose names I don't know. We're just trying to be more than burnout cigarettes. There's a few more hearts break out the bar, singing sad songs. No regret. Tonight we'll drink the stars. In our youth we wanted to be astronauts. Now our heroes all abuse substances. Maybe there's hope in this for all of us. We can find a means to make our way. We're just trying to be more than burnout cigarettes. There's a few more hearts break out the bars, singing sad songs. No regret. Tonight we'll drink the stars. Tonight we'll drink the stars. I said tonight we'll drink the stars.
All right, Casey Joe Collins live in the KMCN studio on Midwest Revue Live. Good stuff, man.
Thank you so much.
You know, I drove city bus for the city of Clinton for 25 years, and I saw a lot of people that I went to school with, and it seemed to me that the same kids that, I mean, I admit, when I was underage, I drank alcohol, I drank beer and stuff, you know.
Sure.
But there were some people who carried it to excess, and they not only drank alcohol, they drank beer, but they drank hard liquor, and they smoked marijuana, and not just a joint here or there, but I mean they would get totally blasted, and then they were doing the harder drugs, you know, and those same people would get on my bus and go up to the mental health center and get drugs and stuff. And it made me think, you know, at least part of the problem is we do not treat children for mental health. And I think that's a big problem. That's the basis of where substance abuse comes from.
Sure.
And it's like, why aren't we treating children
Right.
for mental health? Because like I said, most of the people that I remember doing hard drugs and just abusing everything in school are the same people that are still doing it 40 years later.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And it's really sad, you know. And they were obviously, to me anyway, they were trying to self-medicate.
Sure.
And
Right.
that's where the problem is. We need to start treating mental health seriously. I mean, across around the world.
Yeah.
That's where the main problem, I think, comes from.
I think we would have a lot less of the other issues that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
If that was a little bit different, for sure.
I mean, you know, you think, well, so many drugs and stuff come across the border. Why is that? They come here, they're sending them here because there's a huge market for them here. And why is there a huge market? Because we do not treat our mental health. That's a
For sure.
major problem, I think.
I see it everywhere. I see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But great stuff. Great.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoy your writing.
Thank you.
It's you know, I don't know how to explain it, but there's writing, and then there's writing. When you write songs like this that pertain to something for you, but to other people, they pick up on stuff and they go, "Wow, I really get into that song because of this or that."
Right.
When you perform live, do people ever come up to you and say, "Wow"?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
they?
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things to happen is especially if it's a super personal song about something I've experienced, and then
Right.
someone comes up and says, "Hey, that song means something to me or has helped me through things."
Oh yeah.
Whatever trauma I went through that brought the song about feels a lot more worthwhile when it's then helping somebody else. And those people who, if anybody who's, treated me poorly throughout my life, they lose a little bit to me when I get to use my story to help other people.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and I
for
like
sure.
that. And I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mhm.
It's got to make you feel well. Like your music is therapy. You know.
Right. We're giving away the mental health care to the world
That's
right now.
right.
That's the best we got.
You know,
that's all I got.
people. There seems to be a boom in the number of people that are out playing music and writing songs now, and it's the same kind of boom that happened in the 60s, late 60s and early 70s when I was growing up.
Mhm.
And I think there's a reason, because our world is in turmoil, and that's how people express
For
themselves.
sure.
And it's fantastic. I mean, I don't mean it's fantastic that the world's in the turmoil, but it's fantastic that the artists are coming out and saying, expressing themselves and
Right.
trying to make a difference.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Doing the best we can.
It's fantastic. I really, I really have a lot of respect for musicians and other artists too. I mean, it's not just music that people get something from.
Mhm.
It's the art world in general,
Mhm.
and that's another reason we need to support our art. Jeez,
Yep.
it drives me nuts when they cut art programs.
Oh, and it happens all the time.
Oh,
All the time.
continuously.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, geez, we're running out of time. Got another song?
I'll do
I
another
hate to
song.
push
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
That's all right. I'll do one more.
All right.
This one's DFS Kids off of the last one that I put out.
Okay. Yeah.
The quick version is that my legal name is Jake. My joke is that my friends and cops still call me Jake, and that's what's on my driver's license. But Casey Joe Collins is the stage name. I picked Casey Joe Collins because it was what I was born as. I was adopted at 3 and became Jake Turner,
Oh, really?
and then I found the biologicals at the age of 28 online, and
Wow.
we've reunited and we're a family again. As much as
Fantastic.
you can figure that out that far along in life, but using my birth name seemed like a really great stage name. And so this is a tune that I wrote for my biological brother. We were DFS kids, not sure if we'd ever find a home again. We were fighting boys. I ain't seen you in 28 years. Think we're doing alright for being lords of the state. Think we're doing alright and let your guard down. Those years fade away. I'm here now. We won't walk alone. Think we're doing alright for being lords of the state. Think we're doing alright. We've made our own fate. I jumped on a train. I wondered if you're doing the same. I've slept on the street, not sure if you'd even know my name. I've been hungry and I prayed that you'd find me. I've been tired, I pray you find peace. Think we're doing alright for being lords of the state. Think we're doing alright. We've made our own fate.
Oh, baby. That's good stuff, man.
Thank you so much.
Casey Joe Collins, live in the KMCN studio. It's been fun having you here.
Thank you. I've been having a great time.
Fantastic. My family had contact from, it's been like 7, maybe 10 years ago now, from a girl who was born to my sister, and she was adopted out at birth.
Mhm.
My sister was in high school when she had the baby, and she actually lived in Joplin, Missouri.
Wow.
That's where she grew up.
Small world.
And she, very interesting. And things that she does reminds me so much of my sister. She had she didn't grow up with her. She knew nothing about her until recently. And then my sister has had a habit growing up of twisting her hair. This girl, the first time we met her, we were talking to her, and she's standing there talking, and she started twisting her hair the exact same way my sister. I go, wow, who would have known that that's a genetic trait?
For sure.
But it's amazing.
Mhm.
It's amazing what you can learn about people.
Right.
Just because of genetics.
Right.
So if you're missing somebody, it's up to you. Some people want to find their original families. Some don't. It's all personal choice, but you might be surprised what you learn and how fascinating it is. Wow. Casey Joe Collins, live in the KMCN studio. It's been a lot of fun having you here. And now, people, he's going downtown Clinton to the View. So you want to go down there and check him out. I think I'm going to stop at home and see if the wife wants to come down. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got time for. And you know how it goes. I'll be back next week, same time, same place. Until then, don't forget to reuse, repurpose, recycle, reduce, and repair. I love each and every one of you. Bye.
Slide into our great CD range. rates at First Gateway Credit Union. Open an 8-month CD and earn 3.65% APY. A 16-month CD earns 3.20%.
Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you.
Month
Been a while.
CD earns 4.25%.
I'm gonna go hit that restroom real quick.
Yeah.
3.35% APY. APY is annual percentage yield. Rates are subject to change without notice, and a $10,000 minimum deposit is